Hello and welcome to the unboxing. Today I've got here what has got to be the most highly requested exam and video topic that I've ever had, and it is to cover the NEET exam. That's the National Eligibility and Entrance Test, conducted in India for students who want to go on to study medicine. It's an undergraduate exam, so this would be sat by students, say, between 17 and 25 who want to get into a variety of medical degrees at university, and it's a very competitive exam. Now in this video I'm just going to take a little bit of a look through this exam and see what it entails. I'm also going to do something a little bit different today, and I've made this little report card to give you a little bit more idea. So I've got scope, difficulty, time pressure and competitiveness of this exam, a little way to try and measure some of those factors. And that's just going to be my opinion. So who am I to be judging this exam in the first place? I guess I'm no one to be judging this exam. I'm an Australian and I've never had to sit this exam. But having said that, I am someone who has completed my own undergraduate degree. I did physics and maths, and I'm someone who has sat a lot of exams of my own, and looking at other people's exams has become a bit of an interest of mine. So I'll give you my thoughts on this and you can see what you think. This is the 2019 version of the exam, so it's fresh off the press, and I think people have just sat this recently. So let's just jump into it. So this is the exam, and let's have a look at the front page first. The test is 3 hours long and has 180 questions. Each question carries 4 marks, so for each correct response you get the 4 marks, but for each incorrect response you will lose 1 mark. So that's a bit of a yikes already. Some pretty standard stuff here, and then note that people aren't allowed to use a calculator, so that makes all those calculations, especially for the physics section, all that bit harder. We can turn over and look at the first page. And this is starting off straight away with the biology section, or to be more correct, it's the botany and zoology section. These biology questions take up the first 90 questions, which is an entire half of the exam. So it makes sense that an exam for people that want to go into medicine is extremely heavy in the biology questions. That does make some sense. But then after question 90, we go on and we're now on the physics section. So there are 45 physics questions, and then after that there are 45 chemistry questions. So it does cover physics, chemistry and biology. There is no math section, and definitely a big weighting to those biology questions up the front. Just for a bit of a taste, we can take a read of this very first bio question here. It says, from an evolutionary point of view, retention of the female gametophyte with developing young embryo on the parent sporophyte for some time is first observed in which of these 4 answers? Now, to be honest, this question is one I would do terribly on. There are several words here that I don't know the definition of. I did bio at high school. It was a few years ago now, but I did do well in it, and I do have quite a good memory of what we did. But it looks like this is probably more in depth than I covered in my school bio class. We go on from there to cover things like reproduction, DNA, things about global warming, it seems, hominids, so, you know, a bit of evolution in here, and it looks like, yeah, a lot of stuff covering diversity of life as well as structure and function of biological systems. We've got human biology mixed in with plant biology, and it's really broad. I am kind of surprised at the way that different biological fields are kind of all mixed in together. Like, there seems to be no very clear separation of topics. There's even, I guess, a bit of environmental biology, with a question here that jumps out to my eye about which of the following methods is the most suitable for the disposal of nuclear waste. And the answer of shooting the waste into space amuses me, but I think the correct answer is actually number 2, burying the waste within rocks deep below the Earth's surface. And as we go on through the sections, yeah, we can see that a lot of these questions would take you having done a lot of reading and a lot of memorization of biological ideas beforehand, because it would be possible to answer some of these questions, in that very short period of time that you have to answer each one, if it's already at the top of your head. So things like knowing already which purines are found in DNA and RNA, or how the drug heroin is synthesized. That's a bit of another strange one, maybe. So definitely a lot of questions here, and you'd have to be going into this exam with your mind almost exploding full of all these things that you don't want to forget, because there could just be a question on them. So let's go on to the physics section, which is just starting here. Now we've got all your usual suspects again. We've got simple harmonic motion, we've got kinematics, we've got lenses, we've got some radiation, we've got circuits and electronics, and we've got things like, the collision of particles, things to do with conservation of momentum. More here, including dimensional analysis, thermodynamics, and again, all the questions are sort of mixed into each other. They're not like separated out into sections or anything. I think some of these circuit questions are actually pretty cool. This is stuff that I didn't really study until I was already in an electronics course as part of my physics degree, so I kind of wish I had exposure to this earlier on. Now, you probably don't appreciate the questions when you're actually studying for this exam, and all of physics and chemistry and bio probably feels like a bit of a nightmare, because you're having to learn it in a way that you're being tested, and maybe you don't have time to even appreciate these ideas because you're just having to cram so many of them and learn so many of them for such an intense exam which covers so much. Because physics is my area, I'll solve one of the physics problems as a way to give you some idea of maybe how involved each question is, maybe how much working you could expect to see for each one of these. Now I'm going to pick this question here, number 132. A solid cylinder of mass 2 kilograms and radius 4 centimeters is rotating about its axis at the rate of 3 RPM. So I'll draw a little cylinder here, and it's rotating about its axis there. Now, what do we know? We know what it is rotating at, and we know that we're slowing it down to a stop. So we know that our final omega at angular velocity is going to be equal to 0, and our initial omega is going to be equal to 3 RPM. Now that's revolutions per minute, so to convert that into radians per second, we would go 3 times 2 pi over 60. That would be 6 pi over 60, which we could cancel to pi over 10 rads per second. Now in the question, we're being asked about the torque required to bring it to a stop. So hopefully something that we've remembered going into this exam is a way to find torque, and that is in rotational mechanics, the I, so the moment of inertia, times the angular acceleration. Now, if you've also memorized, it's a lot to cram into your mind, but if you've also memorized the moment of inertia for a cylinder rotating like this, you would know that it is mr squared over 2. I guess that kind of is fair enough to know if you're studying physics, because you do a lot of moment of inertia questions with different shapes, but still you wouldn't want to be doubting yourself on whether you've got that one correct. But anyway, it's I times the acceleration. Now we have the mass and the radius, so all we need now is this angular acceleration, or in this case it would be decelerating to 0. Now what we need to know to be able to get that is a kinematic equation for rotational motion. Now the one that in particular we're going to need to use is that the final angular velocity squared is equal to the initial squared plus 2 alpha times theta. So that's the basically the distance or the angular distance you've moved through, the angular acceleration. So if you're not already doing a lot of rotational mechanics problems, you'll be like, where on earth did this come from? But if you're familiar with kinematics at all, this is sort of an analog to one of the linear kinematic equations. And again, I feel like it's something you need to memorize for the sake of this exam, which, it would be easier if they had a formula sheet or something like that. But of course, this is a pretty difficult exam. So let's see if we can plug things in here and solve for our acceleration. That should be the initial. So 0 is pi over 10. We've got theta being 2 pi times 2 pi because it was 2 pi revolutions, but each revolution itself is 2 pi. We can solve this, and I'll just write it up here. By taking that over there and dividing by these numbers, you would end up with and then plugging that into here with 2 kgs and 4 centimeters squared, you would end up with your torque being equal to 2 times 10 to the minus 6 Newton meters. And that corresponds to this answer 2 here. So that was a little involved, and it wasn't trivial by any means, although you did have to kind of come in with these memorized formulas, which make it so much easier for you. The very act of knowing what to actually do and what process to take can trip you up, and there are plenty of points, even like this finding the theta here, which you might get a little bit confused because using 2 pi revolutions can be a little bit of a tricky thing to say and to realize it's 2 pi squared. Now, having worked through a little bit of a problem, I will say that these physics problems don't seem as involved as the JEE advanced physics questions. I would say that maybe makes sense as well. I think the JEE advanced questions, which I have looked a little bit at in videos before and gathered plenty of hate comments about, it would make sense that those problems are more involved and have more calculations, I think, because for that exam you're wanting to go on to be an engineer rather than going into medicine, where maybe the bio is more of the focus. But that's still probably quite involved, and I think that's around about right for the amount of working some of these physics questions would take you. So let's move on now. That's the end of our physics questions, and we actually started on to our chemistry ones. Down here, 136 was the start of our chemistry, and from here on out it's all chemistry. So yeah, you can see we've got some like organic chemistry, we've got things about bonding, orbitals, ions. I guess obviously you're going to have to be pretty familiar with the periodic table at this point. You're asked about the elements here. You're asked about solutions, and you even have to do a little bit of calculations in some of these questions. We're asked about amino acids, the hydrogen atom and transitions. We're asked about thermal stability, organic chemistry again. Definitely a pretty broad range of chemistry topics, and that is our last page there. So let's have a think about this exam and what we just saw. So I've got my little report card here. Now I'm going to put NEET in as our name. The scope of the subjects mentioned is pretty high. Like within biology, within physics and chemistry, you cover basically, the scope of those subjects. This exam doesn't have any questions or sections focusing on math in particular, like exams like the JEE do. So I'll take math out of the scope, but having said that, I will give the scope an A, because it does, within those subjects, basically everything seems like it's fair game there. Now, in terms of the difficulty, yes, this is a difficult exam, obviously, to learn so much content, and the level at which you need to know is not trivial. Like, we worked through that physics problem and it was a few steps. Like I said, I wouldn't say the difficulty of those physics questions is as high as the JEE, but still definitely, you need to know your physics to get by, so I'll give that an A as well. Now, the next two categories are where I really think this NEET exam becomes very challenging. So in terms of time pressure, like I mentioned, there are 180 questions and 180 minutes to do all of them, but that's not even taking into account that you'll need to save time, maybe even 10 to 15 minutes of your exam to fill in the little bubbles on your multiple choice answer sheet, because like it's multiple choice, you need to record your answers as you go along and then make sure you've coloured them in correctly. So that's actually going to take away from the total amount of time you have, and I'd say it's maybe fair to say you've actually only got about 45 seconds, maybe 50 seconds for each question by the time all that's done. And that actually is kind of crazy. Like, even me working out that physics problem before, it took me more than that just to write it down, and I already felt like I knew what I was doing. It doesn't really leave you any time to be sitting around wondering what to do and what the correct approach is. I guess that's where a lot of memorization can really help you. I feel especially for maybe that biology section. I do in general think that biology sections where you can kind of memorize the answers to things, you can move through them faster than, say, a math or a physics section where you actually do have to make calculations for the most part for most of the questions. So for time pressure, for this insane amount of questions in this amount of time, I'm going to give it an A+. And then lastly is a really big component of the exam, which you can't really capture just from looking at the paper like I do, and like the previous videos I've made about exams, especially Indian exams, it's really hard to capture how competitive they really are. And in the end, it doesn't really matter how many problems in here you find easy and that you can do, because what really matters is how many questions everyone else sitting this exam could do, because what matters is your final ranking amongst all your peers. So in this case, the inherent difficulty of the exam really depends on how others find it as well. You can think you did really well, but if everyone feels that way, you might come out with kind of a poor ranking. I have also heard that because students in India really do study intensely for this exam and try their hardest, maybe they tend to score quite well, which means that even getting one question wrong and messing up in one spot where you shouldn't have can actually bring down your ranking quite considerably. From the numbers I've seen, it appears that over 1 million students would sit this exam and prepare to sit this exam, but there only seems to be about 60,000 seats for people to get in. So for that reason, I think this exam is insanely competitive, and that really brings up its difficulty rating. So I'm going to give it competitiveness A++. Now, thank you to everyone who has in the past left me a comment or a message suggesting that I cover this exam. I hope I did it justice for you and that you found my opinion slightly interesting or slightly valuable. My best wishes to people who are preparing for this or other exams. I know it's always exam season somewhere across the world. Try to stay happy and positive throughout your studies, and I hope you get to the other side of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.